Hi, I'm David Lopez.
I'm Oliver Spires. This is Lab 9 on use of the Michelson interferometer to make measurements.
Okay, so it was necessary to find the calibration factor. We used a laser for this, and we moved the micrometer, and we counted the number of fringes that moved past the detector. Okay, so we solved for the calibration factor by using the known wavelength of the helium neon laser and just solving for the factor that we needed. We found that it was 195.915 microns per the largest unit. Okay, so using this calibration factor, our first task was to measure the wavelength of the green mercury source. We did this by moving the micrometer and counting the number of fringes that moved past, and we counted them by eye. Here we have the... So we use the same equation to measure, to calculate the wavelength of the mercury source. We did 5 experiments, or 5 trials, and we found the measured value of 569.7 nanometers. This differed from the actual value by 4.3%. Okay, we calculated the error if we were to measure, or count one fringe less, and we found that this was 1.96%. Here, to find the value of the wavelength within 0.1 nanometers, we also calculated that we needed to count 5,462 fringes.
In our next experiment, we measured a sodium lamp which has 2 peaks. We replaced the green mercury source with a yellow sodium source which has 2 wavelength peaks. We did 3 trials with this setup, which includes a lens in front of the detector, and found an average wavelength of 589.05 nanometers. We measured it with good contrast. This contrast appears and disappears periodically because of the pair of wavelength peaks. When the view goes to a flat yellow color, that's a null area. We found 3 of these spaced 575 microns apart, and from this spacing we calculated a delta lambda of 0.603 nanometers, which is 0.5% of error from the given data. In our third experiment, we replaced the sodium source with the red laser again and placed a vacuum cell into one arm of the interferometer. We evacuated the air to vary the pressure in one arm of the interferometer. We did 4 trials with this setup in our chamber of 38 millimeters long. We had an average slope of 3.49 times 10 to the minus 6 centimeters of mercury inverse. We've measured an index of 1.000266 here in Tucson at 76 centimeters of mercury from the slope. At 0 degrees C, we calculated 1.00029, which is a difference from the accepted value of less than 1 part in a million of error. And temperature has an inverse relationship with index.